Is Brock Purdy healthy enough to play next week in Buffalo? Is Nick Bosa back on the field quickly? This will not be the team that rattles off all these wins in a row. Sometimes it's not your turn to dance. We have plenty to talk about on a day where the 49ers thoroughly embarrassed themselves. Let's start with team stats on a day where this team was just dreadful. 11 first downs all day long compared to Green Bay's 22, just 3 of 10 on third down, 30%. Hardly going to get it done. The Niners didn't even run 50 plays today. 47 plays. How they cranked out 241 yards, I don't know. 197 passing. Again, Brandon Allen should have been Dobbs in my mind. Joshua Dobbs gave you a better chance to win this game based on his ability to make plays off schedule and out of the pocket. 197 passing yards is better than it looked in real time. This is where you are playing. Look at that. Are you kidding me? I just want to leave that highlighted right there. 44 rushing yards to 169 rushing yards for the Green Bay Packers. That defense stunk against the run. Let Jordan Mason carry it twice. Isaac Guerrero not touch the ball. Christian McCaffrey, 11 carries, 31 yards, a 2.8 average. He did nothing. 3 catches, 37 yards. McCaffrey is a better wide receiver than he is a running back at this point in this year. So why not use a running back who was leading the NFL in rushing just a few weeks ago? 9 penalties for 77 yards and 3 turnovers. Those are go f*** yourself stats. On a day where you got a backup quarterback, a backup tackle, a backup defensive end, a backup corner, you're going to have 9 penalties and 3 turnovers. You deserve to look like the incompetent slap you looked today. You really do. That was awful. And we're going to have to look for bright spots. I thought Malik Mustafa was a little bit of a bright spot today. Again, Juwan Jennings, he went out there, 5 catches, 40 yards. George Kittle, your only touchdown of the day, 6 catches, 82 yards. The bright spots are far and few between today for sure. But a bright spot, Jalen Moore's name was not called all day. Yeah, I mean, I didn't worry about Jalen Moore. That left side of the pocket wasn't collapsing all over. Well, look, no, CMC's healthy. He's healthy enough to play, but to only use one running back in the name of the other must be forgotten. That's what I don't understand. That's what makes no sense to me. The Niners do look gassed, and the Niners have looked gassed, and Shanahan himself looks extra gassed. Mentally and physically, this team has been through an awful lot, and we're not making excuses. You know, most teams would kill to reach the heights that the 49ers have fallen from, but they've fallen from those heights, and there is no doubt about that. How do you get back there? I don't think you're getting back there this year. I'm definitely not ready to go ahead and spend any time talking about off-season moves, decisions, not yet. The blind spot of this year, to me, was letting the unacceptable feel like it has become acceptable for far too long. And you can say Nick Sorensen and Brandon Staley have done a collectively underwhelming job defensively, but the two of them are Buddy Ryan compared to the job that Brian Schneider has done on special teams. And there has been not a single game where special teams this year has not been a major concern, today included, and it's just time to move on. And without moving on, what you're doing is telling your team that we don't have the standards around here that we used to have. You know, what do you think? You're so good that special teams doesn't matter? That is a level of arrogance that just is insane. And the level of abandonment that has come Jordan Mason's way, to me, is just, it's stunning. It's stunning to the point where if I am Jordan Mason's agent, I'm going to be treating the 49ers in a near adversarial way than want to run my guy back into the same room that Christian McCaffrey's in, because any room that my guy is standing in, if Christian McCaffrey's in it too, the head coach can't even see my guy anymore. I don't get Kyle ran the ball 15 times today with Brandon Allen getting the start. What the is that? Like, I know you didn't string enough plays together to have long drives throughout the day. I think you started the wrong backup quarterback. It should have been Josh Dobbs, but to have abandoned the run from the first drive of the game, Kyle spent zero time in any quarter looking to establish the run. This team must look offensive line again in this offseason. This team must look defensive line. They're going to have to look playmakers as well. It's a conversation I don't even want to have right now, but that's absurd. That Kyle would abandon the run in a road game at Lambeau Field with Brandon Allen as his starting quarterback, and he'd abandon the run, not when the scoreboard said to abandon it. He'd abandon it before the coin hit the ground on the opening coin toss before the first quarter began. Kyle didn't come to run the ball at Lambeau today, which means he didn't come to Lambeau today with the right game plan at all. I think Kyle puts the right game plan together more often than not, but the not today screamed. The not good enough today screamed. It was bad. Again, Julio, I know the blood is up. I know everybody's frustrated. I'm just telling you right now, Kyle Shanahan is not getting fired this year. He's not. But what Kyle Shanahan does need to do this year is think long and hard about going into a season 2 with Nick Sorensen, Brandon Staley, either or both. He needs to think long and hard about that. This defense has not measured up to the standards set by this own organization. And he must move on from Brian Snyder as a special teams coach. I would have a lot of new names, new voices, and new eyeballs on this football team. And it's not a run it back situation anymore. There needs to be new blood brought in. And Kyle needs to come up with something other than his list of old ideas, which used to work like gangbusters, but do not work quite like they used to at this particular time. Got to do something different. Joe, if we're being honest with you, we could have said that out loud a couple of weeks ago, where they might have been playoff contenders, but true Super Bowl contenders as the cream of the league continues to rise to the top. And look, I know that, Kansas City got scared today by Carolina of all teams, but when you're 10-1, you're 10-1 and you're 10-1, or they are now 11 and whatever they are. I think look at it this way: Kansas City has won now a dozen games for the last dozen years, or 10 games for the last 10 years, 10 games a season in a row for a decade. That's some special former 49er dynasty type of things right there. That's hard to do. But I think right now the NFC is a 3-team conversation. Maybe a 4-team conversation. You want to put Minnesota or Tampa in there, but it's Detroit, it's Green Bay. That's what we're looking at, I think, in the NFC. And the AFC to me is just screaming, we're going to get a rematch of Ravens Chiefs. We're going to get a rematch of that, I think. So you're right, Joe. You are not Super Bowl contenders this season. Joe Young says, mission 10-7. Don't stop believing. Go to 2014. I don't know, man. Here's what needs to happen before you can start talking like that. Is Brock Purdy healthy enough to play next week in Buffalo? Is Nick Bosa back on the field quickly? Because if the answer is no to either of those questions, 10-7 is not out there now. This will not be the team that rattles off all these wins in a row. Look at the schedule. Look at who you are. Look at where you are. Look at what you got. Look at who is hurt. It's just not out there. Sometimes it's not your turn to dance. Thanks for watching. Tune into the Damon Bruce Show live on YouTube every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.